product marketing and training for SEO clarity. Today, he and his panel of experts will discuss how to drive SEO ROI in challenging times. Take it away, Mark.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, hello and welcome to Show Me the Money, 5 SEO practices that drive results, sponsored by SEO Clarity. As Lauren said, I'm Mark Trapagan, Vice President of Product Marketing and Training for SEO Clarity, and I'll be your host for this session. Now, before we begin, a couple of my own housekeeping notes. First, don't worry about taking notes during the session. As a registered attendee, you'll receive follow-up emails that will not only give you all the information our panelists will share with you today, but also a lot of other useful resources to help you put their tips into action. Also, stay with us to the end, where we'll let you know about some amazing offers exclusively available to you as a registered attendee of SMX Next today. So let's get started. Budget cuts, staff reductions, a focus on essential spending, these are all part of the new lexicon surrounding the idea of what normal looks like for business in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Executives want to know exactly how to keep costs in check and continue to drive revenue, especially when economic times are turbulent and discretionary spending is carefully monitored. So how can businesses execute and drive results with the resources they currently have? We've asked 5 of the top experts involved in enterprise-level SEO to bring you the tactics and strategies they know will get you those quick wins that demonstrate the ongoing value of SEO to your business. In their sessions, you'll learn what an SEO playbook adapted to the needs of these challenging times looks like, how to use quick and easy content refreshing to recapture ranking losses, how to adapt to the many ways your marketplace has changed in these past few months, some temporary, but many that may be permanent changes. How to find the technical fixes and improvements you can implement quickly that have the most potential for improving your standing with search engines. And finally, how to quickly discover where Google is rewriting your page titles and reclaim control of that vital, "I'll click this one" signal. Now let's meet our speakers. Eric Enga was the founder and CEO of Stone Temple Consulting, one of the truly legendary agencies in our SEO industry. Today, he's the principal for the digital marketing business unit of Proficient. Clay Stokes is Vice President of Digital Marketing at Red Ventures, with over 12 years of enterprise SEO and digital marketing experience. Catfish Comstock is the Director of Search for Business Online, a leading B2B-focused digital marketing agency. Along with Eric, Catfish is considered to be one of the founding parents of our industry. Nakul Goyal is Head of Consumer Marketing for Carfax. Like other speakers today, Nakul has extensive experience in enterprise SEO for large brands. And finally, our own Mittal Gandhi is the CEO and Chief Product Architect of SEO Clarity, the industry-leading complete solution SEO platform using advanced artificial intelligence to provide actionable data-based insights. So let's begin with your SEO playbook. Nakul Goyal of Carfax will show us what really matters at this unprecedented time.
Hello, SMX fans. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever in the world you are right now. I am Nakul Goyal. I am the Head of Consumer Marketing at Carfax.com. I've been practicing SEO for a really, really long time, and I've managed SEO for some really large and complicated sites like Carfax, where I am currently. Prior to that, I was managing SEO at TripAdvisor, where we had 55 sites in 29 different languages. And prior to that, at an e-commerce company, Oriental Trading, which is owned by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. In all of these sites, in most of these sites, we had to have a very simple playbook to make sure that we are very well positioned to continue to drive a lot of traffic, a lot of growth from the search engines. Today, I'm going to share that list with you. Now, you can use this effectively no matter how large or small your websites are. These are basic principles that you already know, but today, what I wanted to remind you is no matter how large you are, you want to make sure your foundation for SEO is strong. And this is an attempt to remind you of those things. Number one, we all know we want title tags for our pages, right? We want to make sure, I would encourage you to go and crawl your websites and make sure that every single page on your website has a unique title tag. Make sure you have unique title tags. Number two, you want to make sure that every single page on your website can be navigated to by humans and by search engines. If humans and search engines cannot find your pages, then your pages cannot rank in Google. Three, now this is applicable for most companies, most sites. Make sure you have if you have a canonical tag, ensure that every single page on your site has a self-canonical tag so that it does not create, your site architecture is strong and it does not create any kind of duplicate pages. Four, all of the pages that you have discovered that you have on your website, you want to make sure that the search engines know about all of those pages. So make sure that you have XML sitemaps that are submitted to the respective search engines in your countries, in your languages, the ones that you target, and they have a fresh, frequently updated XML sitemap that covers all your site's pages. If you are an international website, for example, I mentioned TripAdvisor, we had 29 languages, 55 different websites. We want to make it easy for the search engines to match the consumer's location, where they physically reside, and their language preference, and send them to the right section of your website, right? So make it easy for the search engines and make sure you have reciprocal hreflang tags. Again, very simplified things. You know all of these things. When you're working from home, when you're working remotely for your company, especially through these tough times, take a moment to ensure that your house is in order, your foundation is in order. And I cannot tell you how many large sites I've looked at and I've seen that they don't have these basic things in order, in place. Thank you. I hope you find these useful.
Thanks, Nakul. Now, just note that the full platform version of SEO Clarity includes site audits with unlimited crawl pages and projects that will help you discover the opportunities Nakul just showed us. Now, next up is Clay Stokes of Red Ventures. Clay will show us how targeted page refreshing can lead to quick SEO wins.
Hi, my name is Clay Stokes. I'm a Vice President of Digital Marketing at Red Ventures. Excited today to share a couple case studies where we've learned across our portfolio of digital brands both the risk and the reward of content freshness, along with a quick tip for grabbing the publish dates for your content or for competitor content super fast. Also, we are hiring. I hope everyone's doing well. If you know someone that's an innovative, curious digital marketer, send them to our careers page. So I want to start with a lesson that we learned the hard way of how important it is to keep your site index healthy. So this was a site back in late 2017 when Google forced the entire internet to migrate to the secure HTTPS version, where, AKA the SSL apocalypse that was known at the time, where on this particular site, there were no other changes that happened that month other than redirecting the entire site directly to the HTTPS version. And by doing so, we inadvertently forced Googlebot to go recrawl every crusty old page on the site. Some content was old content that was outdated and untouched since it was first published in like the 2009 to 2012, 13 Web 2.0 era. So after thorough analysis of the whole site, we ended up killing 2/3 of the content, and then painstakingly over the next 6 months, rewriting every meaningful page on the site, which led to a rebound, full recovery, and some record months from a year-over-year perspective the following year. Now today we're talking about quick wins. So here's a quick example of a page that was impacted by the May core update last month, but that gave our team the chance to really go back to the drawing board on thinking through the intent of users searching for the content on that page, and develop something that we thought is even more sustainable, defensible, and meaningfully relevant for our audience. And we refreshed the page and saw a nice rebound in rank position shortly thereafter. And this is a common result that we see outside of core updates in just regular day-to-day SEO. So I strongly encourage you to stay on top of your content that's waning, or the competitors may have updated more recently than you, which could leave you exposed. So here's my quick tip that I'll share for grabbing published dates for your SEO competitor URLs, your own URLs along with your SEO competitor URL, so you can match those timestamps and prioritize your content refreshes. So first up, in this case, I'm using SEO Clarity. You could use the rank tracking tool of your choice to collect all of the competing URLs in your SERPs. And then I spin up Screaming Frog, and using the custom extraction feature, I use this regex string, which is a quick and dirty tactic to grab this date modified value out of the source code of most pages on the internet these days. Most article type content, page type content will use proper JSON schema, signaling to search engines when it was last updated. Home pages and category pages would be an exception here, but in this case, on these keywords, there was a 66% match of the 100 search results that I threw into Screaming Frog, which is pretty good. There are better services out there that are fancier, that will have a better match rate, but that isn't too shabby. Just want to end by underscoring the value of putting the time into your content. Don't just update the content with a new date or fake the refresh. There's a real opportunity to level up your content. The goal isn't just to rank ephemerally for a few days. This is your chance to upgrade the page so well that you can maintain your position defensively and sustainably, so you don't have to repeat this process again in a month or in a quarter. So that's my quick tip. Thank you.
Thanks, Clay. Now, as Clay showed you, SEO Clarity makes it super easy to download the URLs of your SERP competitors. Well, in fact, our platform automatically identifies your top organic search competitors, so it's never guesswork on your part. Okay, now it's time for Eric Enga of Perficient. Eric will give us some practical, easy to uncover, unique opportunities amidst all the marketplace shifts happening around us.
We sure live in interesting times. The last time something like this happened was in 1918, over 100 years ago. So there is no playbook for success in the COVID-19 era. So many businesses have had to downsize, costing people their jobs and creating the highest unemployment rate since the Great Depression. So what is a business to do to survive and thrive? How can your business do more than just survive the current market environment and actually find ways to prosper by providing the types of products and services that are in higher demand now? The big key is to figure out how you can morph your business to meet those needs. One of my favorite examples is a restaurant here in Falmouth, Massachusetts, called Seasalt. It's an upscale restaurant with awesome food, and they're not normally a takeout restaurant, but they morphed their business. They went all takeout, and further to do that, they had to make their menu dynamic. basically with it changing every day due to the inconsistency in their food supply sources. But they did it, and they did it brilliantly. They kept their business humming and built customer loyalty. But let's look at how we can do that online for our businesses. Consider the example in the B2B equipment supplier space of a company that changed from their traditional product offerings to a completely different but closely related family of products. They're actually setting records for business online now, and they're thriving because they shifted their business focus to meeting current market demands. So how do you find out how to serve people with their needs in this changed market? For sure, there are the obvious ideas. Talk to customers and ask them what they'd like and what you can offer them in this current environment. What are the big things that they're looking for? Next, so let's go beyond that and think about how we focus our strategy from an SEO perspective so we can do more online with our business. Here's a simple 4-step process for you. 1, talk to your customers, as I already suggested, and ask them how their needs have changed. 2, do some online research. See what's people talking about, things related to your business space or talking about on Facebook, or what articles are getting written about your business space. Just mine those for more ideas. 3, use Google Trends to find out what is happening with related search queries. The beauty of Google Trends is that it updates frequently. I actually see how search trends have changed within the past week, and even get a projection for search query volumes for this current week. Pretty close to real-time data. And by the way, SEO Clarity incorporates 90 days of Google Trends data within its platform. And then 4, take what you've learned from this research and update your site content to use the keywords that address those current needs. Change what you emphasize in the overall site hierarchy to lift products and services that are more in demand up, and potentially even change your offerings themselves. And just do these things to focus on what's now in the hottest demand in the market. We've seen this work for so many different companies. Give it a try and see how it works for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. And by the way, you can see shifting demand in your marketplace in Google Search Console, of course, but for a deeper dive, full platform SEO Clarity includes Google Search Console integration with 16 months historical data for advanced grouping to slice, dice, and analyze those new demand opportunities at scale. Now, next up is Catfish Comstock of Business Online. Catfish will provide several technical fixes you should prioritize first.
Hi, everybody. My name is Catfish Comstock. I'm the Director of Search for Business Online, and I'm very happy to be here today on behalf of SEO Clarity to present a few quick actionable tips that you can do today to make improvements on your SEO program. And I'm going to present to you the newest member of my family, Lily, who's joining me here on location in Las Vegas for our current quarantine. First thing that Lily and I would like to tell you about today is page speed in terms of quick wins. Something that you can do really quick is to make sure that your images are properly optimized. You can use Page Speed Insights, which is the screenshot to the top right, to identify images that have the highest potential. And then you can use the Squish app from Google Chrome Labs in order to quickly compress those images and make them much more optimized for speed and performance. The second thing that you can do is make sure that you're implementing schema across your entire site for everything and anything that it's applicable to that Google currently gives enhancements to. So the thing that you can think about first is organization schema on your homepage, followed by video and images. I have some folks that have as much traffic to images for B2C as they do for regular web results. And then product reviews, making sure to incorporate images and reviews as part of those, product schema. And FAQ schema and how-to schema are also really important because not only do they give you opportunities for featured snippets, but they also prepare you to be forward-facing for voice search. You can use the new schema.dev tool from SEO Clarity in order to make implementation a lot easier. If you haven't checked that out, I invite you to do so. The other thing that you can do, the third thing, is to flatten your site. So by reducing the number of clicks to your content, you're going to make it much easier for Google to ensure that they index everything on a more consistent basis and make sure that they index everything to begin with. The way that you can do that is to make sure that you have an HTML sitemap, increase your navigation links, create sub-navigation menus for certain site sections where it makes sense to do so. Make sure that your breadcrumb navigation extends all the way down to the lowest level of your site, and make sure that you keep in mind that your PDF documents still need links in order to not only boost their own performance, but the sites that they link to. And then lastly, duplicate content. You want to make sure that, that you set canonical tags that reference absolute URLs for every page of your site. But beyond that, you want to make sure that Google's processing those canonical tags consistently and the way that you intend them to. So if you inspect any particular page via Google Search Console, you can see this example to the right. And in this example, you can see that my company, Business Online, has inadvertently forgot the redirect that's supposed to go from the trailing slash to the non-trailing slash version of the page. And so because of that, Google's able to index both, and it's chosen one over the other. Unfortunately, they've chosen the version of the canonical that we, the opposite one that we set. So we need to fix that, but this is an example of how you can start to look at your pages, especially under the in the section that says duplicate. Google chose different canonical than user in your Search Console report. That's going to be your first area to look at for situations where maybe Google's choosing a different canonical than one that you've defined. So ensuring that you have a consistent set of links between your internal links, your sitemap, your hreflang, and your canonical tags. That's going to be a really important step to make sure that everything aligns for the signals that you want.
Thanks, Catfish and Lily. Now, Catfish mentioned that SEO Clarity launched a free Schema Builder browser plugin that you can install at schema.dev. With the Schema Builder extension, adding schema to your pages is as easy as point and click on a page. It even creates the JSON LD code to drop into your pages. Our final speaker today is SEO Clarity's own Mittal Gandhi. Mittal will share with you a quick way to take back control of how Google shows your page titles in search.
Hi, I'm Mittal Gandhi, and in the next few minutes, I want to walk you through an opportunity that exists in nearly every enterprise. And it's one that will take no new resources on your side, except for the tools you probably already have to get a better positioning in Google and likely better traffic. It's a process that has come out of our own research on what we call title rewrite analysis. So what is the problem that we're going to try and address? It's essentially one where the title that you want and that you've put on your page is not what Google is showing at all. If you're wondering if this is happening for your website, I can assure you our research shows out of the top 5 ranking URLs across 50,000 keywords, we found nearly 1 out of 4 URLs being rewritten by Google in that data set. In different industries, this may be completely different, but it is a big enough problem where SEOs need to pay attention. It's a problem because besides Google rewriting it and you ceding control of your title to Google and all of its wisdom to make the best of it, what you're measuring in terms of click-through rate for those pages may not be reflective of what's on the page, but it's maybe something completely made up by Google. There's a whole research study behind this that you can go grab from our blog post or will be included as resources here, but there's a whole bunch of reasons why we found that your title may be rewritten. The one to highlight is title length. Now, you could measure pixels and how wide your titles are, but for the sake of simplicity, I translated it all into just character counts. And what we found, one of the biggest reasons for title rewrites was whether or not your titles were between that approximate 20 to 60 characters. Now, note, I'm not saying that 20 to 60 characters is a magical number to improve your SEO. All I'm saying is 20 to 60 characters in our data seems to be indicative of the lowest probability of having your title rewritten. So more on that, but how do you actually go about doing an analysis to detect this? Well, only a couple of steps. We are going to switch very quickly here to grabbing from whatever ranking system that you have, all of your titles and SERP snippets that show up in Google. So I have a download here from SEO Clarity's Rank Intelligence that shows me for every one of my keywords, the URL that was ranking and the Google title. Next, I'm going to take all these URLs, run them through a crawler to grab the actual title that is present on the page, which I have gotten here. This list shows me the actual title that is on the page right now. Finding whether or not Google's rewritten the title now is a simple matter of a VLOOKUP. So I just VLOOKUP this URL and grab its actual title on the page and put it right next to this. I can now say title this, and a simple Excel formula can now tell me whether or not this title was found within this other one. This is going to very quickly highlight for me everything that a match was found in all the places that it wasn't. And now we can start analyzing how well Google is doing for us. I skipped over some of the details in here. For example, you'll notice titles that are truncated with an ellipsis at the end, this ... You may need to clean this up to really find a good match in here, and you can use fancy formulas for that. But for our basic purposes, what I really want to look at is for URLs where Google is rewriting the title across multiple keywords. How can I optimize it so that Google doesn't have to do that and I can be in better control of it? Here's an example that stands out. For this women's hoodies page, Google seems to think that the better title is hoodies and sweatshirts. It's obviously not. But for whatever reason, it does not like the title that we put in, which is why it's rewriting it across multiple keywords. That should be my first target. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope you can discover more patterns within your own data as you go through this. Thanks.
Thanks so much for joining us today for Show Me the Money at SMX Next 2020. You can download the complete presentation as well as the full workflow from each presentation and tools and resources you can use to put these into action right away. But before we go, we want to share with you this special exclusive offer for attending this session. For a limited time, you can get 20% off a lifetime subscription to our new Essentials product. Essentials by SEO Clarity includes accurate and reliable daily rank tracking, our full keyword research suite, and AI-based content optimization. No commitments, just try it for a month and start harnessing the power of SEO Clarity to scale your SEO performance. Visit the URL on screen now for more details, and be sure to use code SMX2420 at checkout to get 20% off your lifetime subscription. If you need the full capabilities of SEO Clarity for enterprise SEO, including unlimited site audits, full Google Search Console and analytics integration, and much more, contact us for a no-obligation demo. Thanks again for joining us today. You'll find some helpful resources to download within the SMX Next virtual conference interface, and don't forget to watch your email inbox for links to the free resources that were referenced in today's session. Thanks again.